Hi, I'm Jen, and I'm a legal counsellor here at APM, and I work with Matt.
And I'm Matt, I'm APM's General Counsel, and Jen and I are here today to talk about what I wish my friends knew about being queer. So I think it's pretty common for people to assume that everyone is like them. And many times in conversations, you get asked a question that actually it becomes almost uncomfortable to answer. And it can be something as small as, were people talking about their kids and the school sports and things like that. And while some queer people do have kids, and many do, many also don't. And it almost requires you effectively to come out every time that question is asked.
The thing that I found was really helpful was whenever someone asks, and uses gender neutral terms rather than specifically being like, what were you up to this weekend with your boyfriend if someone is, a woman, and instead being like, what were you up to with your partner, or, do you even have a partner? I think sometimes it can be quite, scary for someone who's not out yet to someone to be, asked a question and to feel like in that moment they have to come out. It's always nice to be able to include everyone by using more of those gender neutral terms. I think what a lot of queer people end up experiencing, and this is rather unfortunate, is sometimes they can experience a lot of rejection from the people that are the closest to them, which is their families. And what ends up happening is a lot of queer people actually find their families, like their chosen families, outside of, maybe their mum and dad or siblings. And I think that's a really interesting concept because it may not really be something that people who are heterosexual may understand as much. So for me, like having some difficulties with family, that sort of pushed me to find people outside of that circle who, are accepting and who are willing to, be there to support me despite, my sexuality.
I mean, I'm very fortunate. I had great family and there were certainly no issues, but I spent a lot of my time living overseas. And so I spent 17 years in London, and there I really did find my own tribe, and these people became my family. And because we were interested in the same things, we had Christmases together, and it just really became like this group of friends really were my family.
Being someone who is watching this video and wanting to be an ally to a friend, you could be someone's chosen family by just being supportive and being there for them. And that's really important because your friend might not have someone who is understanding of everything. And, really it's just a matter of you just being there for them and not judging them for who they are.
Yeah, so I mean, there have been a few times in my life where, people have asked some pretty inappropriate questions and done some very inappropriate things. At one point in time, someone asked me at work, who's the who's the woman in your relationship? Which, is wrong on all sorts of levels, but in particular, I was a bit shocked. I was shocked when the question came. It just feels very awkward. Rather those things just didn't happen, to be honest.
Another thing that people can assume is that just because someone is queer, they want to be flamboyantly out and very loudly proud. And I think not everyone wants that. Some people just want to be accepted for who they are, and then that's it. Conversation moves on, and they just want to be treated like anyone else.
Another thing that has been said to me in the past, which sometimes a bit hard to deal with, is, well, I don't care. When you're talking about something to do with sexuality, and they basically say, well, I don't care, so therefore it's kind of not important. And actually, I treat everyone equally. I treat everyone the same, but really, it's almost sort of denying that the other person's sense of self is relevant to the conversation and that everyone must be treated identically because of some kind of overarching sense of fairness or equality, when really the whole point of diversity is actually understanding the people that you're talking to and engaging them in a way that makes them comfortable. So saying, when I bring up something to do with my sexuality, well, that's not relevant, I don't care. It's kind of like telling me that I'm not important. And I think that is equally, challenging for some people as well.
It's a hard world to navigate.
Sorry, peeps. So pride for me is exceptionally important in the sense that it's an indication that these changes have occurred for the better, and that, you know, we're never going back. It's about demonstrating to the world that we have a right to be here, we have a right to exist, and that we are proud and we're not going anywhere. So for me, being a good ally is about speaking up when you see things that aren't right. It's making sure that you're there to support people in those hard times, because actually, you know, constantly having to defend yourself, you know, is exhausting.
Being a good ally, for me, I think it's important to take that heavy lifting off the person that you're trying to support. And instead, if you have questions about what it means to be queer or the queer experience, for you to take the initiative to go online, to go to, you know, different resource centres and get that information yourself, rather than, you know, asking awkward questions that might make people feel quite uncomfortable.